There's a kind of man that exists that does not need to pay for sex. His sex is not transactional. His greatest currency is the quality of his presence, actually. And what is that in your mind, Stan? A guy that strippers, escorts, hookers, celebrities, actresses would spend time with for free, not because of his money or his status or his wealth. What are the qualities of that man? What is so compelling about him that speaks to that aspect of women that could be with anyone that they wanted and they choose to spend time with him for free?
Mhm. I would say, first of all, he has depth of him. He always mystery to her. He's
Mm-hmm.
always unsolved, unresolved, and maybe a bit uncontrollable. She doesn't feel like she has a full access, completely full access to him.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, most likely, he's very passionate about his own journey in his life. And yeah, that's interesting question because many guys they chase money, fame, status, uh, success, power to get women in their life, right? But once it's disappearing, and like this famous guy who is on the stage or whatever, right? Kicked out of his place.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have women anymore because initially he didn't have skills to get them in his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of these qualities, when we talk about mystery and mystique, it comes from dedication to something bigger than her in your life. I can
Mm-hmm.
say that in my case, it happened many, many times when I've been, and I love roller coaster relationship, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when roller coasters became too much, right, I left just to continue writing because sometimes it's not giving you any more inspiration, it gives you intoxication, right? So I would say these qualities plus to openness, but I would say sexual openness, what keeps women addicted to you. And
What do you mean? Like you fulfill their fantasy, you don't judge them, sexual openness.
you don't judge them, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, that's a very good question, because then guys would ask, oh, what is about my boundaries, right? Well, you need to put your boundaries, right? But you don't judge her for being messy and being funny, and especially when she's trying to be sexual, you need to compliment her for that, and etc. etc.
Celebrate that shit.
Celebrate her in Zan's terms, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I think to be her fantasy, I don't think you need to be her fantasy, but I really believe in bed, like in relationship, you need to be a leader, right? You don't need to stuck on idea how I will satisfy her. What does she feel right now? Does she enjoy and etc. Even though, like, of course, it should be mutual. It's obviously right. Why would you stay if it's not mutual, right? Because vice versa, you're a rapist. But there is many guys who are trying to get girls drunk and then they think, oh, I succeeded with them. No, you
Yeah.
didn't. No?
Or with different ways to alter a girl's mind
Yeah,
state.
like I mean, if she is in the morning, first thought in the morning that she has in her mind is to call police or leave your apartments as soon as possible. Definitely,
Yeah.
you didn't succeed. But if she wants
Yeah.
to stay or wants to see you next day, it's a good sign. And
Yeah. Or
uh,
sorry, Stan, just something very practical on that note.
yeah,
So let's say you've taken a girl home. Oftentimes, it's not a strategy or a manipulation or a tactic or a calculation or a play that you have to make. Really, like take her to breakfast or treat her well or get her an Uber home or whatever the case is. And hey, text me when you get home safe because you're not doing it so you're protected. But if she ever decides to look back on the experience and change her mind about it, you have hard evidence that shows that she had a good time and was comfortable there, just for your own protection in the time and the age that we live in. So very practically, that's something that you can do. Also, another thing, one of the things when you're about to maybe take a girl home is to tell her, hey, if you come home with me, this comes from Johnny Saporno, my number one priority would be to see you again. Because if we have a connection, why would we only want to see each other one time? It's not a manipulation. It's a it's solves the worry that girls have of, oh, if I sleep with him, he's just going to use me and then leave me. If you
Yeah,
really want to see her one time, if you like her, why would you only want to see her one time?
exactly.
So
And if you
back to what
don't
you're
like
saying.
her enough, you
Yeah.
don't need to sleep after sex with her. I mean, like you can honestly say, no, I cannot sleep with you in the same bed or whatever, right? You can call her taxi.
Yeah. You still take care of her though. Make
Yeah.
sure she's home
I
safe.
used to be this guy. I couldn't sleep with every woman, like with every
Yeah.
girl that stays in the same bed, like till the morning.
Yes.
But if you really like her, you give her a sign that you would love to see her in the morning. Or
Either way, honesty. What feels true for you? Women will
yeah,
respect you for being honest. If you know what you want and can communicate it to her.
yeah,
Even if they dislike you in the moment, they will respect you for not pretending to be something you are not, actually. So we were talking before we started recording, Stan, about this idea of, can you trust women? And I would, if you asked me, I would say, yes, you can trust women to be women. And this goes into this interesting evolution or difference of a nice guy, roughly speaking, the red pill guy, or the true lover of women.
hmm
And very roughly, and we've said this before, but it's worth mentioning again. The nice guy loves women, but he does not understand them. The red pilled or the something, roughly speaking, conceptually guy understands women because if he understands women, he becomes hateful of women, generally speaking,
yeah,
or fearful. And then the true lover of women, it's just stand to reason, loves women in spite of, or because he understands them. So he trusts them to behave like women. So in that sense, what are your thoughts?
you know, I can say what definitely was answer for me. Okay, you don't trust women because you know them very well, right? So what other options you have? To stay alone or to start dating guys or what? I would say women, they they're like a river, right? And you need just to decide, are you willing to be a shore for her, right? That's all. You cannot control the river, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is two options. You can stop the flow completely. Then you will lose her access to her sexual energy. You will access to her loving energy, kind energy, caring energy, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But all you can be that shore, right? And then it's up to you to decide to believe that she's loyal, not loyal to you. It's the same, I guess, for her. She needs to second guess, are you loyal to her? Because I think that's the problem of our generation, that guys asking the question that women used to ask for centers, is he's loyal to me? Yeah.
Men are asking if women are loyal to them now.
Uh-huh. It's
Very interesting.
crazy, right?
But do you feel like that's always been the case as well?
I think guys who are good with women, they understand that this there is always depth. I
That's
mean,
true.
the question of
Mm-hmm.
loyalty, what is loyalty? Some of the guys will say, she doesn't need to talk to any man. It's terrible, right?
That's very constrictive, putting her in a
It's
cage
control,
worldview. Yeah.
but in the same time, there is also a situation that guys are in right now. And I've been hearing this a lot from the guys. They say, I don't like the fact that you texting to that guy or you're liking the photos of that guy and etc. And she's saying, oh, you're insecure. Well, I guess there is a double standard in this case, right? Because when women says this to us, we're trying to navigate that sometimes, right? So I think right now the dynamic in relationship changed a lot because centuries ago men used to be not a prize, right? But men used to be more in provider mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Partly because of wars, partly because of hunting, right? So women had this question: if he's loyal to me, not still losing access to him, right? Now, guys, sorry for the word, they're afraid of losing access to the pussy. So it's of course because of movements that happens in the world and etc.
Well, in a sense, if a woman can make her own money and doesn't need to depend on the guy for security, then she has more freedom and is not limited in the ways that women used to be limited by depending on for food and survival on the guy, generally speaking. So it's an evolution of the problem with the times. It seems.
Mhm.
I'm curious your thoughts on the archetypes of women Stan that you've described so brilliantly. If you want to say it quickly, between Lilith and the Eve quote unquote archetypes, very roughly speaking. And if I can steal your quote, which stood out to me when you told it to me years ago,
Mhm.
never left, which is men don't write poetry about housewives.
Ah, yeah, true.
And I'm curious if you can elaborate on these two archetypes of women that are actually inside all women to
Yeah.
an extent. Some are more this, some are more this,
Yeah.
some are more externally this, some are more externally this. So I'm curious, what's your view on this?
Yeah, it's in the same time it's the same way for men, right? You okay, I will say prehistory. So in Talmudic, not even Torah or Bible, but in Talmudic stories there is a lot of mentionings of Lilith, first wife of Adam, and they say that God took some mud from uh, from his genitals area and created Lilith, right? She was very passionate, she was dreamy, she was
Yeah,
independent, independent,
independent. Yeah, uncontrollable. Yeah.
uncontrolled. Yeah, but again, like the
Hmm.
word uncontrollable, it means that someone needs to control something. I mean, in general,
Maintain.
yeah, I mean, in general, if relationship needs control, right, then it's not good relationship. If she's not willingly there for you, if she's not willingly the best version of herself for you, then why would you try to change her? It just doesn't work, right?
Mhm.
I mean, why would you need to explain her how to behave? Why would you need to tell her what to do if she is not already like this for you? That it might be many questions, right? It might be there is different views of life, there is different approaches, etc. But I mean, all these ideas of control comes not from insecurities, maybe from insecurities. I don't know, but I think if your woman is not on the same page as you, what you can do about that?
Yeah.
I mean, you can create the situation like, okay, you're leaving her and saying doesn't work for me. She's coming back. She acts like you want for 2, 3 weeks, and then what? Then she comes back to behavior you didn't like, or vice versa. You come back to the behavior she didn't like, right?
Mhm.
If she's not already on the same page with you, it's not gonna work. Whatever you do, whatever you explain to her. So that's, I guess, Lilith part manifests in women, a desire of being independent. Sometimes it goes into stubbornness, and girls are also suffering by losing good men in their life. I know very huge amount of beautiful, gorgeous women who lost a good guy and they suffer for years. The guy is
Yeah.
strong enough not to come back.
Yeah.
He has, I guess, conviction that it's not going to improve ever again.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, and there is we have Eve, right? Eve is someone who is very much obedient, and you don't even need to say her anything about the way she needs to act. And you become bored by her because you don't need to conquer. And as men, we are ultimately conquerors, right? You cannot
Yes.
deny that. Why we stay in relationship, even if we have, before we get into relationship, even if we have a huge amount of women in our life, why we still getting into relationship? We still that we didn't conquer her fully. We still need to get something. So men like this, right?
Mhm.
I believe it also resonates in women. There is a lot of, in men and women, in human beings in general, we have a lot of that wild hunter energy, right? It's still hunting. We're always on the hunt, I would say. So in the same, that's the same.
You mean the primal caveman, cavewoman desire for novelty and new
I'm not sure
experiences?
it's just caveman now. I'm not sure it's primal, right? I know for certain that our generations and our ancestors used to live by achieving something and then getting the prize, right? So that's the answer. Because some of the people who listen to this podcast, they might not believe in evolution and etc. We also, I think, both of us, we still have a lot of questions on that, right? So yeah, we just have the example is like, let's say 3,000, the last 3,000 years of history, right? Most of the things we did in our life, it was conquering something to achieve something and to get the prize. Like in whatever area you used to work by that time. I mean, your ancestors or whatever, right? So that's very deep in us. And that's why you might wonder, you might get into a relationship with a woman who is like not even your type, right? And you think like, wow, but this girl who is like way hotter than her, she's still chasing me after so many years. Yeah, she's chasing you because she never get you, and you
Mhm.
will chase her because you couldn't get her. And that's what I'm trying to explain. It's not like maybe there is more into that. I don't know. I don't know. But what I would say, it's one of the things, guys trying to control the women and trying to say like you need to be like that. So in the moment when you say to her that you need to be like that, you're showing her that your happiness depends on her behavior.
Mhm.
I think it's the unsexiest thing you can do in your relationship ever.
Well, if you're really a rock or a shore, um, you are who you are,
Hmm.
no matter the strength of the river,
Yeah.
quote unquote. Right? And a loose metaphor we can use in relationship is a woman is the ocean and you're the rock
Yes.
as a man.
Yes.
So to move things forward a bit, I think we wanted to talk today about this idea of being the man that she woman never forgets. And that becomes a question not of quantity of time spent, but of quality or the depth of the time. And so to put a very controversial, polarizing idea out there, imagine being the kind of man that a woman meets one time, 1 hour, one evening, one experience, and you become the man that she fantasizes about even in bed for the rest of her life, even when she's with her boyfriend or future husband, because you speak to that aspect of her in a way that he never will. That's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable that that can exist. Because on paper, in Disney movies, in the way that we're raised, in family and culture and tradition, that's your person, right? You should think of them when you're in bed with them. And so, then in your mind, what are the qualities of that experience that make a woman, when she's on her deathbed and she's 80, 90, 100 years old, and she's looking back on the life that she had and the experiences that she had with the men that she met, only one of those, the guy she spent 50 years with, that was comfortable, that was safe, that was secure, they might even have a family together, versus the arguably, conceptually, the polar opposite of the guy that made her feel more alive in one evening than in 50 years with this other guy.
Yeah.
She remembers him on the deathbed with a fire in her eyes. I'm not saying either is more valid, but they both exist and they both speak to an aspect of the feminine psyche, of the feminine mystique, of that feminine condition. And you could say roughly it's a lover versus a provider.
Hmm.
But practically, in the moment, in the bar, in the club, in the street, in the coffee shop, how to tap into that aspect. It's hard to always remain in touch with that, right? There's a move from unconscious uncompetence to unconscious competence, right? Which
Hmm.
is like 10,000 hours of mastery. But what are some practical things in your mind that can be focused on?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. First of all, I would say think with your balls. First of all,
Yeah.
especially if you're in the club, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to be over polite or um over correct
Or do what everyone else does.
on theory, etc.
Yeah.
Because it's in general, guys don't understand that it's very unattractive if you really care about woman you just met. You just met. You don't know her, right? She's not from your family. She's not your friend, and you already caring about every reaction she will give you. That's
Just met this girl.
yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? And she feels it right away. She's like, why he's like this with me? He barely knows me.
Wow, that's interesting. Sorry to interrupt you, because a lot of girls feel like they don't deserve to be treated that well as well.
Yeah, a lot of girls they well, let's be honest. Like I think women has way lower self-esteem than most of men.
Mhm. Very interesting.
It's not just about that women put makeup, to feel better. When they say I do it for myself to feel better, it's exactly the reflection. I don't feel good enough with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like
They
they can
tell
say,
you.
yeah, I don't do this for men. Okay, God bless you. Don't do it for men. If you're doing for yourself, it means you're not satisfied with yourself already, right? And it's beautiful and it's amazing that women dressed well. They put beautiful lipstick, beautiful makeup. I love it. I adore it. But I just want to see the source where it comes from, right?
Yeah.
And another thing, what guys need to understand what they do in the clubs, they always trying to do the same what other guys do. They're like, oh, my friend told me this advice years ago. I will use this quote, etc.,
I
etc.
saw this on social media. This is what you should
Exactly,
do. And
and it's not aligned with you. You hold different archetype.
yeah.
I mean, the energy. I mean, we talked on one of the calls with guys. Guys told me like, can you say what you saying to women? And I said, it doesn't matter what you say. It matters how you say that, right? You can say like, how are you doing? Or you can say, hey, how are you doing? And she feels it, it's vibrating in her body, right? You can
She
say,
feels it here.
oh, you're so beautiful. Or you can say, hey, you're beautiful. And it goes deeper, right? It's a big
Right.
difference in how you say that. So, okay, guys will say, okay, I need to fake and to do that. You don't need to fake. If everything comes from your balls, if you naturally sexually charged guy, a guy who ultimately attracted to women, and he's focusing on that, to be more sexual, you'll ultimately become better with women because
Yeah.
he wouldn't really care how many women he approached that night, 20 or 25, because mentor told him. He will approach
Yeah.
50 women that night just because he wants to. He still
It's
wants
who
to.
he is. It's not what he's doing. It's who he becomes.
Yes, yes. So first of all, you need to answer on the question for yourself. Do you really want to become that person? Because it might be not for everyone. It comes with disadvantages because I think the greatest lovers of women, the guys who are the most successful with women, is the loneliest guys in the world. They have a lot of women
Yes.
in their life, but they, in the same time, very lonely. But yeah, as I said, it's all comes from you being sincerely interested in approaching women. You cannot fake it. It's
Yeah.
also
You have to
things like
genuinely like women.
contemplation might help you, when you go out and you contemplate what exactly you like about her. And that thing, this sincere contemplation, it takes off some of doubts, fears that you have, right? Not everything. I think even if someone would ask us, I still, whenever I approach women in clubs, I still feel some type of hesitation and etc. But it's not the same what we used to feel when we just started to go out. It's
Mhm.
experiencing years. It becomes just a part of the process. I think it's like people who jump in the pool from very tall buildings. I really believe they feel less fear than they used to feel, but they,
I still feel it every time.
yes, and it comes again, it comes from the nature, we knew that sometimes you can approach the wrong girl and might be killed in the wild nature. So
Mhm.
that's the
Yeah.
mechanics. For some of the guys, it helps, to understand this mechanics, it's not who I am, it's from my ancestors, And then, but I told you, we have a friend here, one of my close friends, he knows nothing about seduction communities, and he's great with women, and all his success with women comes just from a really big desire to connect with them. And as he says, for him, it doesn't matter. He says, I'm even going to be happy with hugs and kisses. For him, it's not even to get laid with them. Like, he just wants them, he wants them close. He wants to feel as he says, he wants to feel skin to skin. you know
I like this guy.
yeah.
So there's a sense in that way, a man that really is good with women,
Mhm.
number one, he's good to the women that he runs into.
Yes.
So number one, you have to actually like women. Two, you actually have to be good to women. Three, the only expectation that you have, if any, or the thing that you enjoy isn't necessarily outcome dependent. She needs to go to bed with me. She needs to give me her body and complete trust. No, actually, it sounds like to this guy even, he says hugs and kisses or skin on skin,
Yeah.
which sounds nice.
It's enough. He says.
But just to be around women all the time inevitably will result in these other things, these specific outcomes just become something natural. For example, phone numbers. For example, going to bed together. For
Mhm.
example, the spending time together are just byproducts of a guy genuinely enjoying the presence and the company of women and making it good for them to be around, whether that's, yeah, and it can even be taking the form of money, right? Taking the form of drinks, pay for the girls' drinks when we go out together, or pay for her dinner, or get her Uber to and from. So it makes it very easy for her to take her mind off of things. She doesn't need to think at all. She can just relax into the moment knowing that she's with someone that's considerate enough and thoughtful enough to have taken care of all those small things so she can't be in her head and just in her body and just enjoy the experience. You can say that for a date. You can say that for the fulfillment of her darkest fantasy if she has complete trust in the guy. The fact that there can still be good guys out there, even if they look bad on the surface. And it's very interesting.
I think it's sometimes even easier to describe what you don't need to be if you want women in your life. I
Interesting.
can say as example, I'm completely allergic on the idea of praising yourself, you know. And for years, I've been hiding from women that I live in the
Hmm.
town area, and because it's expensive.
What are the things we say when women stand? Let me start. Oh, I'm homeless.
Yes,
I'm poor. I'm really boring. I'm really normal.
yeah,
Go talk to someone else. My dick doesn't work. It's small. Like there's a
exactly.
sense of there's nothing to prove.
Yeah,
Like
but
they're
also
like
it
women think.
it gives us certainty that, I mean, for women it says that guy is strong enough to laugh on himself and etc. Right? He first of all he has a sense of humor, you know, and he's not afraid mm, to hurt his fragile ego, right?
Yeah.
But for us, it's also another thing is very good. I'm allergic to say what I work. Do I have money? When I had a very nice job and nice place to live in, I had zero words said to women about that because I want to make sure that she's there because she really likes me. She likes me because I did everything perfect that night, right? Even though I didn't have a technique, right? But
Oh wow.
she likes me for who I am. And that's, I think, biggest misconception. Guys start to say, I've been on vacation there. I did that. I did that. Or they start to overposting on their social media. I'm fucking artist, I'm painter, I'm musician, I'm entrepreneur, and etc. So then how do you know why she's there? Like, what exactly in you attracted her?
What is she there for? She's there for your money. She's
Yes.
there for your status. She's there for the opportunities, or she's there for your presence
And we
and just
understand
being
this.
around
This
you.
comes from compensation. Guys are compensating their traumas. They say, okay, I will become famous. I will be on the stage. I will be big businessman, entrepreneur, and then all these women will come into my life. The problem will be solved itself. No, no, it won't. That's why many actors, many famous directors, and etc. They still struggling because women who are on the same level with them, they getting them back to the situation when this guy was nobody. But ultimately, and we talked about Motley Crue recently, you mentioned Vince Neil. Most of the men trying to become famous just to
Or
get
rock
girls
stars.
in their life. Yes.
Yeah.
Old rock stars generation was at least honest about that. They've been pretty much saying, I'm a shitty artist. I don't have anything to do with art. I don't understand art. I create a fucking marketing type of shit. But I do it because I want to bang more women.
I just
I
wanted
don't want
girls.
to bang them. That was the reality, right? Some of the men was more honest with that, and I think in the end of the day, that's why you see on the news why Rockstar is divorcing and etc. Right? If he is so good with women, why he still has problems? That's the point. Because all success with women comes from you being dedicated to that, you know, dedicated on
Wow.
the
So
journey of understanding women first of all. And in my opinion, you know, like I would say, good man as the good art. It doesn't need any promotion, any fake boost or push.
mhm.
His glory goes from lips to lips. You know, girls are saying about him, "Oh, you need to meet that guy. He's so funny. He's like cool. He's exactly you gonna like. He's the guy you will like." You know, that's what needs to be. You don't need
It comes with good recommendation. That's the
exactly.
same. Yeah. Wow. Sorry, Stan. Like interrupt you. The idea is like let's say an actor or a musician becomes immediately super famous,
Mhm.
and then with that fame comes, of course, certain kind of girl, certain kind of attention, certain opportunities, certain sort of thing. Then after he falls out of the spotlight, he can't replicate the same success that he had because before that he was not in and of himself
Yep.
good with girls. So when he lost the things that made him have access to these sort of things, then he can't recreate it for himself because it wasn't who he was. It was an external circumstance, not an internal way of being, an inner gravitational pull, a sort of effortless way of being, as opposed to something that he was doing or something he was unable to be by the circumstance. So imagine, wow, Stan, let's be controversial. If you take away the billionaire's money,
Uh-huh.
right? If you take away the athlete's skill and his status, if you take away the muscles or the biological advantage of certain, let's say, athletes, basketball players, football players, do they still have something that is fundamentally captivating to the imagination of women?
Most likely, if they didn't have it before, they're not gonna have it after.
Well, that's the point, and they might have it. I mean, some guys probably had it before they were famous, already had girls.
Yeah.
They probably had more, and there's doors that open and girls that you will only be able to meet at certain levels of substrata of society and things like this, of course. Right? That won't be able. You can't just meet as a starving artist if you're not invited to the premiere party of the zenith or the peak of the feminine beauty of the world. You don't have access, obviously. So these things aren't valueless, right? But there's an innate skill or level that guys that were getting girls before they were famous will continue to get girls while they are famous, but it's not because they're famous.
Yeah,
Actually,
and unfortunately, guys, right now,
we're
man,
rich.
a lot of men in the world in general, not in some industries or whatever, but also in the industries, they prefer to blame society, they prefer to blame governments, they prefer to blame industries for their unsuccess in anything in
Yes.
their life. If they artists, they blame the industry because the industry is too not noticing them, right? I think the good comparison is the same in the club, right? If women don't notice you, you just not interested, right? There is nothing in you to stay with you, right? If you need to push it always, if you need to boost it on Tinder or whatever, it's the same in every area of your life. If you still like, let's say as example, right? If you do something and it doesn't get resonation, right? Let's talk about work. Some of the smart people, they will say, okay, I need to become better and try again. And other people will start blame society, industry, government, taxes, um, promotions, whatever, anything else. So the same with women. You can continuously blame someone for that. But in the
Mm-hmm.
same time, what type of conqueror you are in this case? What you
Mm-hmm.
can conquer? You cannot, first of all, you cannot conquer anything. You cannot even protect your family. If
Wow.
you cannot take your life in your hands and say, okay, that sucked, and I'm gonna do better this time, and I will figure out what was wrong. If you cannot do that, then you will be always the victim of the obstacles.
Yeah.
You'll
Of
always try to
circumstance.
find someone to blame for your unsuccess. First of all, you need to accept uh, the reality and not to be afraid to fall like this, from the mountain to the ground, to have enough balls to fall like this. From
And
that
so,
from that point, when
yeah.
you see how miserable you are, you can stand up and understand how much work you need to do on yourself to get the results.
So that points to the fact, the idea that all men that are great with women have a sense of radical self responsibility. They
Yes,
don't blame anyone for failure except for
yes,
themselves.
absolutely.
They could have
Even
done
in
better.
relationship, not just in
Yep.
clubs, even in relationships, yes.
Correct.
And I would say, because we know many guys who are good with women, they are overthinkers. They're like, fuck, I said that. I
What
knew
could I
that.
have done better? I'm gonna
Yeah,
fix this next
exactly.
time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But there's not a sense of them beating themselves up about it
No.
necessarily.
And again, you sometimes I think guys will say like, well, I am like this. I'm thinking all the time, what should I do better for my relationship or for my approach or whatever, and it still doesn't work. The only thing I can tell you, if it costs you a peace, it is too expensive.
Hmm.
You know, we already live this life in denial of death. People are doing everything to disturb themselves from the idea that they're mortal. We're
And we're
chasing
going to die.
demon chasing us. We all want romantic feelings. That's why love is so popular, right? Because love is the only thing that gives us pause to feel that, wow, time is not going anywhere. I'm in the moment. I'm present. I'm so present here, etc. But yeah, that's that's the thing. We very much afraid of. We don't think about death in terms of death, right? But person who accepted decadence as it is, and I used to say, one of our friends, he's a painter, he really liked this phrase. I used to say, life is like a dance with death, and more you are dancing with the death. And I don't say you need to be suicidal. No way, no nothing like this.
Or
The
have a
more,
near death experience, although that can be nice.
I mean, the dance with the death, it's always put yourself on the edge of your fears, right? That's in my terminology, what I believe. Then you feel alive and etc. But I don't know what. mm, I think again, if you're coming back to in terms of clubs, rejection comes from fear of not existing. If she rejected me, that means I do not exist. But if you will contemplate that, you will understand it has nothing to do with who you are. You existed before you met her, you will exist later. You need to become the best friend of yourself. It's easy to say, right? Once you're a good friend of yourself, people naturally will like spend time with you, especially women, right? Also, I would say, very beautiful quality. I don't say for everyone, but being empathetic to women, to understand that they had a lot of on their plate as well.
Women have it
They
rough.
still have,
Yeah,
and it's not
women have it rough.
yes, and it's not being fake feminists,
Hmm.
because I think you said something funny about fake feminists. Can you remember?
No, don't remember.
I think it was something like they try and they, they say what women say about women just to get into panties of women.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't remember the exact quote, but yeah, there's a lot of guys that pretend to be on the side of women to get something from women. That's not being on the side of women.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're really on the side of women, you would be the way you are in support of women, whether they can give you anything or do anything for you or make you feel any sort of way or not. It's not outcome dependent. You are who you are because that makes you feel better about yourself. That, you know what? I understand the condition of being born as a woman because in a world where men are biologically stronger than women and things can happen, of course, women should take care of their safety and be better to be more safe than less safe, more prepared than less prepared. Better to have your pepper spray than to not have it because you never know when something might happen. There's a lot of men that are not good to women out there.
yeah.
I
But I
mean,
also would say, it's the phrase you used right now, being on women's side. I think you are more on women's side when you give her polarity, when she feels that
mm,
you're a man and she's a woman.
mhm.
There is a lot of relationship that built on the polarity when someone is active in leadership and another one is
Sure.
passive in leadership.
Roughly masculine or feminine, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
in our times is a lot of women because of rough times when she needs to work, she has access to work and etc. She doesn't have time to be feminine in her feminine energy. She goes into that masculine energy, find the guy who is feminine. And guys right
Hmm.
now, surprised by the things that they hear on the news and etc., they prefer to be feminine. They don't want to show up and to say what they really believe in, how they see the world, how they would love to impact on the world. So on these terms, right, it creates the polarity that looks completely opposite when woman is more masculine, guy is more feminine. And
Well,
most of
woman's
the
more
time,
leader and
yes,
man's more follower, actually. What
yes,
you're saying.
yes. And then it's again comes to the question, um, would you want this life? Are you going to be the conqueror that he will take in your hands these situations, who will have enough balls to say to her that I'm not satisfied with that. I really love you, but I'm going to leave you because that's not the polarity I imagine. And you cannot
Mhm.
fix her. Sometimes you can give relief to a woman who is in her masculine energy for some time. Then she will get back to this rough world when she needs to be strong enough, strong and independent, right? And you cannot.
Well, that's also another interesting thing about fantasy fulfillment, Sam. Because let's say roughly, if you're a lawyer or you're a high-powered woman, or if you are very so used to being masculine, quote unquote, and you're always in control and in command of your reality and a leader and in control, actually,
Yes,
of reality. In the bedroom, you might find, hypothetically, I'm a virgin, you're a virgin, we don't know much about this, that this kind of woman is the most submissive in the bedroom
mhm,
because she gets to be an aspect, because it's still in there, inside her, that she doesn't get to explore or release or let herself be in the real world because she has to always be in so command, so
exactly. On the
dominant,
right
so in control all the
circumstances.
time.
Yes.
Yes.
On the right
And
circumstances, she will show her feminine side more.
it's still there. It's always there.
Yes,
Just unexplored, unexpressed. Maybe she'd never feel safe enough to show those parts of herself in the world. And vice versa, your good girl, your girlfriend, your or the girl that presents as demure or as innocent or as bandana, so publicly, so soft, so girl. She's such a princess, an angel, a snow fairy, whatever. in the bedroom is a freak. She's dominant. She break your dick
Yeah.
because that's also existed in her, and she's so used to playing the good girl, the good that these unexplored parts of herself need to be expressed. And in the bedroom is when you might find something crazy. So interesting that it's
Yeah,
about
that's
not being either or, because all men and women are both. Or it's the same. You can make the idea, sorry Stan, about the CEO who likes to get pegged in private hours. It's the same logic. It's a sense of feeling whole and expressing and exploring parts of ourselves that we know exist, are never comfortable or safe enough to explore, actually, in a sense. A sense of feeling complete, of having range, of having both ends of the spectrum, depending on the situation. And I think, to conclude on this thought, the lover brings out the side that the other person forgot that they maybe even forgot that they had it, but they feel incomplete without it, whether they can articulate it or not. So many times a woman will feel in the presence of you something special that she's missing, but not know how to say it, and you can say it for her. For example, to speak only from the perspective of a men who like women.
I think the point of safety, what safety really means, if I'm safe enough with him,
Mm-hmm.
the case if something very bad happens to the world, he will be the one who will navigate the situation. That's what safety really is. Of course, if you're psychotic and dangerous guy, it's also not sexy, and the woman, even if she liked you, she might be turned off by you. But I think safety, it's not just to be safe in words, right? I think safety, it's for her to feel that your emotional stability, it can endure a lot of things.
Mm.
I know very bad guys. Some of them are criminals, and they go to these women, and they don't treat the women right at all. But she knows that she's protected by him like a brick wall.
Against
Yes,
against some other dangerous
whatever
threats.
will
Wow.
happen, whatever will happen, he won't hesitate to pull the trigger if she's in danger. That she
Yeah.
knows that. And I know some of the girls who told me this. That pretty
Wow.
much like it sounded like this. She said, and she was in her 30s. I think she was 32. She said, and she's gorgeous woman. She said, all my life I was dreaming about the guy who will fight with bare knuckles for me at least once.
What a fantasy.
Yes, yes.
What do you do if you go into a strip club? And it's not guaranteed to work 100% of the time, but what would you say to a stripper or an escort or a woman that is it? It is her job to get money from men. What would you say, for example, to put your best effort out there, to leave no stone unturned, and to know that you could not have done more, to perhaps build a real relationship with this girl in a way that is non transactional? She would just love to spend her time, which is valuable and expensive, with you for free. So practically, this is don't take the words, take the energy. This is inspired by something from The Alabaster Girl by Zan Perion. It says, "Hey, I'm not like other men. If you go into there and you talk to a stripper, I will never waste your time. I understand you're working and you're trying to pay your rent, and I won't waste your time. And I see you as this certain way. And if that's not enough, go and talk to other guys and go make money from them, because I'm not going to pay you a single dollar. But I would like to talk to you." Something like this. Maybe you would go a different approach, then. I'm curious what you would say, or maybe something you have done that's connected in a way that's real and human, beneath the transactional, in a way that she thinks no matter how professional she is, who is that guy? I would spend time with him for free.
Well, I had this type of experience, but it was with an escort girl, and I approached her just as the woman in the bar, even though I had assumption that she is fishing for something. I assumed maybe she's just fishing for the rich husband, etc. I didn't have in mind that
Sure.
she's an escort or whatever, right?
A smart girl hanging out in a high net worth location.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
approached her not by offering something I have, I just by offering myself, what I have within myself, right? Not something material. And we had beautiful 2 months of relationship. And I never knew that she works in escort until one time when we went together to the club and one of my friends told me that. And yeah, and it was undeniable, but I never said even one word to her. I never judged her for this because she was very nice and kind. And she really cared about me not knowing that. And even though I was always asking how she had so much money, because I didn't spend 1 cent with her. She was paying for everything. She was traveling. And I was like, well, interesting. And I would say I'm just maybe I decided to be an optimist, even though I had assumptions, right? All my life with women, I see more than they want to show. I know every
Hmm.
step she's gonna do. Every time
Wow.
she is about to lie, I know that. But I choose the perspective, not to not to investigate, not to fight and not to destroy that mystery, and beauty, because sometimes mystery and beauty and chemistry and love exist only because you decided to close your eyes on some sort of things. And I
Very
will
interesting.
tell you one quote of very great and one of our favorite Russian poet, Pushkin. He said, "It's not difficult to deceive me. I'm glad to be deceived myself."
Yeah.
Yes. So,
It's like the same. What came to mind was, are you really being used? If you know you're being used, then you don't mind.
mhm.
Same logic. I'm curious then where
Can
your
you share?
understanding of
Oh, yeah.
women came from. Like, was it theoretical? You read books. It was from lived experience, from your travels, from the all sorts of infinitely interesting manifestations of that eternal feminine principle that you ran into in your life. A mixture of this good mentorship from the guy in Pachamama, and things like this. Where did that understanding come from? I'm sure it was a blend of theory and action as well as lived experience. But where would you say those influences came from? Where did that understanding at the masterful level that you had to come from?
It was all combined together, mostly. But I would say at one point, for many years, it became just my personal experiences plus Lord Byron's books. And I
Mm.
mean, there is still a lot of great stuff. One of them is like in Don Juan, he says, we usually think about that our wife is cheating to us with him, with this guy. But it's always exactly the guy we never think about that. And there is so many examples like this in Don Juan, right? And how he
Yes,
approaches women. And I've always been curious. I've been reading and thinking, the only way Byron had this amount of knowledge, right, comes from his personal experience, right? There is um, no other way to get this amount of thoughts. And I was doing,
it's too specific not to have been lived or real, right? It's
yes,
too
yes.
it might be modified slightly, but you can see it comes from
I never
something that
seen
happened to him.
my years of understanding women as like as trainings or something like that, or preparation for something like that. For me, it was exploration because I definitely knew that I wanted to have beautiful women in my life. And I even had, when I was in my 20s, one of my friends, he remembers that I had the list of top 10 girls in my town. And so basically I had this top 10 list, right? And somehow, accidentally, I get into the first one right
Mm,
away. So I skipped all the night before her, and I was like, "Fuck, what should I do next?" Right?
that's fun.
And yes, but it was just out of the desire to understand most of the women, and of course, most of the experience came from doing mistakes. Things like Lord Byron, mentorship. I wouldn't say I had very much mentorship, but I was observing guys who are good with women. And some of these guys are not good to women, but they are good with women. And I was observing them from a side, and sometimes asking questions like, what did you say to her, or whatever, right? Like, I mean, and then I realized that it's not about what they say, but yeah, I had mostly if I would like someone would ask me what helped me a lot, it's just staying very much optimistic later on, after
Mhm.
rejections and etc. Just staying optimistic and like, okay, it didn't work out this time, but next time it will go better definitely.
Because you knew that, like the greats of the books that wrote the books that inspired you, the real life examples that you met. Oh, this time didn't work out for you or for me, right? But for them, they surely had the same, and it eventually worked out for them, which gives you hope and inspiration as well to keep going on your path. Although I had the sense you were more self motivated as well. regardless of, it's not dependent on them having succeeded, that you continue to propel yourself and motivate yourself.
I don't know, Justin. I think right now
Yeah.
about one of my ex-girlfriends, and I think it was also about just desire to have a lot of fun in my life, you know. It's like, I mean, I approached her in Florence in 2022. She was with her girlfriend searching for the bathroom, right? And I came to her and I put my hands like this and I said, "What was in Vegas stays in Vegas." And I knew, yeah, right? That's what David said. And then we spent all evening sitting in old taverna, listening to Jacques Brel, Serge Gainsbourg, and etc. Right?
What a thing to say.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean,
Perfect to the moment.
it was a lot of, in the same time, it wasn't just desire to understand women better, it was just desire to have fun in your life, you know.
Yeah. Well, she will certainly never forget you or that.
Yeah, she's still like we're still in good terms, you know. We still, I can like proudly say that she's very close friend of me, right? She's supporting our podcast and she was sharing that on her social medias and etc. That desire to have a lot of fun in your life, it just makes you a bit more unforgettable to people, to
Of
women
course.
especially because this
It's
podcast is.
so that desire for even just have a fun life filled with unforgettable moments and memories is so different from what women normally run into, that in and of itself, that's not that difficult. To have the desire to have a fun, interesting life
No,
is already fundamentally interesting to them in a way that they rarely ever come across, actually, for most of the women that run into
that made me remember
massive
one
men.
Greek philosopher, Thales or Thales. It's the question what pronunciation
Phallus?
you use. Yeah. He used to say whenever his mom was asking him when he's gonna get married, right? He was saying it's not time yet. And later on, when she was asking, he was saying it's too late already. So guys are always they waiting, you know, for this moment. Like they say it's not time yet, right? And then they
That's
realize it's
funny.
too late, right? So I think to have fun and to be curious about women, it's like there is no right time. Just you can start it whenever you want, right? Just to accept the fact that maybe you will be scared, maybe you will be intimidated, maybe you won't get the imaginary picture that you want right away. Even
Yeah.
Stendhal, you know, Stendhal, great French writer, he used to say, "We never love someone; we love the image we created of themselves in our head." So whatever you will, any rejection you getting into the club, it's still the image, right? You still have two hands, two eyes, two legs. You're still alive. Nothing really bad happened. And if you still care about what other people will say about you, you're far from being conqueror of your life. So just don't let yourself to be there. Can you share about your experiences more and also about the striptease girls? Do you say strip or striptease? How you say it in English?
Just strippers.
Strippers.
I mean, I
Strippers.
can't claim to have extensive experience, but recently I did have one very interesting one, and
Yeah.
that was usually, so roughly speaking, sometimes nothing is good or bad in Chinese philosophy. And things that seem bad in the moment are actually the greatest blessing that you could have ever had, and things that are good in the moment are actually not so good for you in the long run. So, anyways, a girl that I cared very much about, because long story short, the philosophy that I've come to is nobody owns anybody else. And if you really love a woman, then you have to let her be with her best option, even if it's not you, if you really love a girl. And so he was debating to go and see someone else. And obviously, I knew of this concept conceptually, theoretically, of course. No one owns each other. Her happiness is my happiness. If she goes, it's for her. This is bordering more on the open relationship side of things. And I want to ask you about this after Stan,
Mm-hmm.
because it seemed like you have a crisis of faith on the traditional model of relationships that is taught by society, by religion, by culture, what is acceptable. To continue, she was maybe going to see this guy, and she did go to go have a smoke or something, to spend some time. And so I wandered for the first time in my life alone into the old town in Bucharest, Romania, and ended up. It wasn't my intention. I was just gonna go get some food at the Euros place or the kebab place in the middle of Old Town where we used to go after going to Controller Negroni in Bucharest after a long night out where we tried our best but couldn't get any girls. And some very persuasive salesman She said, "Hey, come into our nightclub," he said. And for some reason, I trusted this guy, and I was like, said to him, "Hey, you're gonna look me in the eye and say that you're not going to do anything dishonorable if I come with you." And he said, "Yes, of course." I mean, he's paid to say that, obviously, but I went with him anyways, and went to the strip club for this. Um, Essentially, the first time in my adult life. I was too young to do so in the U.S. before selling everything and traveling the world. And so went there, had a great, actually enjoyed the time with the girls because something about the quality of those girls was so inspiring because they did not give a rat's ass what people thought about them. They liked dancing and they believed that they should get paid for what they're good at. That's cool to me. That's a cool girl that doesn't care what people think about her. And I reflect the words of my mentor, Johnny Saporno. The most attractive quality that a woman can have is not to give a fuck what other people think about her. And I completely understand that. So to be in this sort of environment with these girls, like, hey, I'm just a poor artist. You know, I can't pay for very much. I know you're trying to pay rent. I don't want to waste your time. For some rich guys over there, go talk to them. This sort of spirit. But I do have some questions. I'm writing a book I'd like to ask you. This is the sort of energy I walked into the place with. You guys so I went there and it was an enjoyable time and the nature of the universe. I was having a good time. So of course the girl came back that I was so worried about that maybe subconsciously or consciously led to me going to the strip club in the first place. Because I don't normally do this, right? But it was fun. And I mean, I would never recommend this publicly, but go and see for yourself when you go there from a place of offering not only money and see what happens. So anyways, the girl that the story is about wasn't actually even there the first night. But then the girl came straight to the strip club after. And she's a girl that likes girls. And she's probably watching this and she knows who she is. And the girls there were, well, there's girls that like girls and there's girls that girls like. And she's the latter. Not the unidirectional bisexual girl that exists that likes girls, but not many girls like in return. And she came in and she was a hit. She was very popular there. And I was showing the other girls, hey, look at this girl. Like she's gonna come later and things like this. Because these girls are pretty inclined to be interested in this sort of thing. Although so she came and we had a great time and then we went home and we connected and things like this. So the next day, just walking down Calais Victoria, which you guys listening should come to Bucharest, Romania if you haven't already and come visit us. We'd love to show you around. One of the girls that was in the evening, in the shadow of the night, in the strip club, working, moonlighting, doing another job, was just hanging out at a regular bar on the main street in Bucharest, Romania. And she and a friend of hers, who she had invited, were sitting there on the side of the street when tattooed Chinese pirate walked by. And the girl that was there previously in the strip club the night before tapped her friend on the shoulder and was like, hey, look at this Chinese guy. He came to the strip club yesterday. And this girl, great girl, let's call her M. These girls have no shortage of confidence and actually approach me much easier than any guy approaches a girl that hasn't spent significant time in his life. This is their job, right? They're like, hey, you want to come into this place to have free shots and things like this. And there was some spark of something, magical connection that was there. And she was obviously a good saleswoman, very good at what she does. And I was like, okay, take my Instagram. Maybe we'll come by later. It was very fun yesterday. And maybe I'll bring some friends. But hey, we're all starving artists, though, just so you know. And we'd rather not come if we're going to just come and waste your time. You talk to them like this. I have nothing to offer. I'm an artist. I know you're trying to pay rent. But if you want to hang out, we can. I can find some rich guys and bring them in if you want. Or whatever. But we didn't even go that night because we got caught up in the moment and went on some other adventure in this pirate life. Long story short, fast forward to the weekend, there was this big party in Romaero in Bucharest, which is like this sort of airport hangar that they ran out for special events, and it's big DJ, big lighting. It started from, I guess, 10 a.m. or no, maybe 3 p.m. until 10 p.m., the daytime aspect, and then 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. on the nighttime aspect. And I went there and just ran into the stripper girl having a party like a normal girl. And
Because she is.
Because she is. She's just a normal girl that interestingly, be careful how I say this, but her family doesn't know that she does stripping for 7 years. She's
Damn.
a good girl in their eyes. She's just going to work and going to school and living her life in Bucharest, right? So long story short, this is dragging on very long, and but it was we spent time, and of course I got some drinks and we danced and we stayed there the whole time, and it was a great party. It wasn't like I didn't spend any money, right? But it wasn't excessive. It wasn't like this is the only, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, Dan. This is the only thing I have to offer. I must buy you drinks for you to like me. In fact, you can say this with words practically in the bar or the club. You can say, hey, I'm buying you this drink. And number one, I need to make sure that if I buy you this drink, you're not so drunk that you can't consent. Number one, incredible thing to say to women because you're kind, you're caring. You don't want her to make a decision that's not herself, that she's going to regret in the future. Number two, I'm not buying this so you like me more. I'm buying this because I want to, because that's who I am. And they see there's a huge difference in that. You're not leading with your money as please like me. You're just, of course, we're here to have a great time, and I'm a leader, and I want to show you a great fucking time, and of course, I'm the man. I'll take care of the drinks and show you around, and have a great adventure. So very practically in the bar, that's the energy and the dynamic. Like she's with you, you're taking care of her. You're the fucking man, actually. And anyways, it was a great adventure with a girl that is probably made, I don't know, God knows how much money she's made from men in the strip club that have paid her, that had secret intentions, that were hoping that she would give them more than they paid for. And there's a different way to exist that appeals to some part of her. Is like, you know what? I can be a normal girl around this guy, no matter how many professional seductive skills that I have as, to be honest, an enchantress, a seductress. A woman whose professional job is to make men like her and think that she is genuinely being that way when it's, you could say, an act. It's work. To have the masks of that fall away. So that was an interesting experience recently. And then she went to go see her family, who knows nothing, obviously. Oh, she's home now. Hey, welcome home, sweetie. How are you? And that's a story that's still unfolding and a storyline that can be expanded upon in the future. But I'll hand it back to you just to paint a picture of what that sort of experience looks like. It was also chance. It's fate. We could have just not met again the first time on the street or at the party. But there is a way to speak to that aspect of little girl inside her that wants to have fun and just be herself and to be led on an amazing adventure.
To be a woman.
So to feel like a woman. To feel the wonder of a little girl again. I think of another one of your quotes, Stan. Like, you told me, and it blew my mind, you want your woman, and I'm paraphrasing, to look at you like a little boy looks at airplane.
Yeah.
With that kind of wonder. How could she ever charge you money?
True.
Like, who is this guy? Wow. Well, this is straight out of a fairy tale, out of a love story, out of a Disney movie. I get to be the main heroine, the character in this.
Yeah.
And so, to hand it back to you, Stan, what, in this way, if people could just be that real with each other, in a sense, this is one of the most honest girls I've ever met, because she's not hiding anything. And so, to just reiterate the question that I asked you earlier, this crisis of faith that you've had, maybe, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, on traditional relationships, what is the relationship dynamic that makes the most sense to you at this current point of time, and that can change? And is it, one girl, one guy, closed relationship, monogamy? Is it open relationship? There's different things that work for different people, of course. So I'm just asking for you personally, what sort of relationships have worked the best for you, dynamics, for your creative inspiration? You're a writer, so it's slightly different for you than just a provider or a husband. You don't serve that role currently. What dynamics have been the most nourishing for you and for the girl that you've been involved with in your travels and in your life experience? I want to close on this.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't call it crisis, but it again comes to the question that you asked earlier about Lilith archetype and Eve archetype, right? It's I mentioned that with Eve, guys become too bored, right? But from Lilith, they run away because that uncontrollable energy and power that creates chemistry and passion and roller coasters, it's also
Can be too much.
Yes,
to
it
manage.
hurts the guy's heart, right? So if you ever see the guy who doesn't have any trust in women anymore, it's usually a guy who had this type of woman in his life, right? The good guys, guys who love women, they will navigate that. They will say, okay, it was just difficult dynamic, right? I don't know. I answering on this question, we know many examples that are very much different, and some of our people who are close to us and we are close to, they're in open relationship. Um, some of the people in kind of traditional relationship, and it works for them as well. I think, ultimately all men and women, we all crave to meet someone secure enough so we would have space to cure our old wounds,
Hmm.
to forget our unsuccesses, bad experiences.
And to
So
explore the things we've always wanted to explore
exactly,
that we never
yes.
felt we could
So we
explore.
would feel secure enough, and men and women,
Yeah.
secure enough to explore that. So our old wounds wouldn't reopen again, right? And it's
Hmm.
very rare
And to be accepted for the
to
old
be
wounds.
to be accepted, but
Understood.
to be accepted without any terms, right? That's what
Hmm.
is the most important. So
Right.
that's what we crave. For some people, this only one of those people who are giving up on themselves, in my opinion, they go for open relationship. They're giving up and they say, okay, clearly, 99% of the work I need to do on myself and to accept the world as not perfect and etc. There is some idealists, romantics, I am one of them, who believe that you just haven't met the person, the right person for you, right? I believe both of the approaches are working well. It depends. Um, it's many of the things depends also on compatibility, right? Sometimes you might meet the girl that you have great compatibility with, and all your ideas that you had before about relationship, they just slightly changing. Slightly,
Hmm.
it's the easy word to say that, but they
A
might
little bit.
tremendously to change, right? So I really believe that it doesn't even really matter what type of relationship you have if you feel secure there, right? If you feel loved, desired, protected, and that person is going to be there for you on your side. And there is misconception,
Mm-hmm.
we love people the way we want to love them, right? But there is, in terms of classic relationship, right, there is another thing. We need to love people the way they need that. If you want them to have this, because like we can forever talk about secure space for us, right, as the man, but as the man first, you also need to give her the secure space for her to heal, for her to forget that experience, for her to start believe to men again. Because one thing that she believes in men again for 2 3 nights, but another thing when she sees after some weeks with you that it haven't changed, he's still kind to me, he's still loving, he's still caring, right? And she remembers this as the new pattern, and she feels full of hopes after that. The same with us.
Also a new standard.
New
Then
standard, right? The same with us. We might be hurt by many women before, right? But then you meet the girl who still's there. She's not seeing any other guys. She's not flirting to any other guys. You don't have doubts what she's doing when she's not calling you, and etc. She's consistent. She's kind. She's open and always there for you. She knows that whenever you need her, she will be there, and etc. That's the place where people can heal. And I don't know. Do you need to have the construct like open relationship or closed relationship for that or no? Because it all depends on the right person in your life. Because I think all the small details like are you in an open relationship or not, they just disappear in the moment when you know that you, whatever going on between two of you, you're secure enough. You
yeah.
don't feel that that person will hurt you again, right? So then you can, I don't think then in this case you will have even negotiation. Do you really need to decide who you are and what type of relationship you have?
Hmm.
Because I really
To ask
believe,
the question is besides the point.
yeah,
Right? It's
yeah,
so obvious.
yes. It's so
Yeah.
obvious for you that it's kind of people that bring you belief in humanity again. And it's great to be that
Hmm.
type of man who will bring her believe in
Hmm.
man first of all again, but in humanity again. Who will make her that princess. Because I can only say for myself that my desire to evolve into the land of women came from not frustration of not having women, but having women who've been leaving me for other guys.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that pain was very, very strong.
Yeah.
And
So you became the man
I
that they
think,
could never leave.
sorry?
You became though they would never want to leave, or you would always leave.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Interesting.
ideally, I think behind that it stays desire to find someone who is not gonna trigger in you in the same places that you've been triggered as a child.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because all of our good, cool friends who are good with women, most of them had the same experience.
Yeah.
They've been dumped by someone and they couldn't let it go.
Well, I never got dumped because I never had anyone stand.
Yeah, yeah, it's another story. And I think that there is always the question, um, do you look for relationship or do you look for someone that will get you? I don't say that you need to find a woman to fix your problems or whatever, but if you have a woman who is inspiring you, right? She doesn't need to do anything, zero. She's inspiring you, right? She's there for you. You come back after the long day, after your hustles and bustles, and she's there for you. You put your head on her laps, and you feel that tomorrow when you will wake up, she will be there for you. That's the thing that you need. You don't need anything else. You just need the safe place to come back and recharge. And that's what in our society is not really much discussed right now, because we all say that we men and women, we are strong, independent, we don't need anyone, we have marketing, we have commercials, we have sales, and everything will be fixed for you. You can purchase, how you say that, everything you
Or
need.
purchase. Mhm.
And in the end of the day, you just don't have mm, you don't have place to recharge and to come back to fight your dragons again.
To yourself. Well, I think maybe something we can agree on is then. Tell me please. Agreed. Is that no matter what form of relationship or friendship or between man and woman, that it has to make you closer to yourself or become more yourself. Otherwise, you're
Yes,
wasting your time.
absolutely.
Whatever the form that is.
Absolutely. I would even say, if you, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, even if you love her so much, but she's not helping you to get closer to your potential.
It's incompatible.
Yes. There is a lot of girls, who is saying that, oh, I don't like your friends, I don't like what you do with your life, and etc., etc. It's not getting you closer to who you want to be.
Mm, yeah.
And maybe ultimately, I know Zan is used to say that you cannot do anything about that, and better go, live, and find new experiences than course correct. He used to say this word, course correct. Then
Well,
to course
maybe
correct,
one other thing to do is introduce her to someone more compatible. As much as you love her and all her beautiful
yes,
qualities,
yes,
people
exactly.
change, times change, goals change, dreams change, and I think
And this is
you
very strong,
mentioned,
not many guys can do that. If you
yeah,
really
yeah,
say
well,
that you love her, you can do this for her because you love her. And you understand that there is something between two of you is not working. So let her go and find someone who is good for her. And
or
just
find it for her.
find for her, right, right. And that's what I'm saying. I think the most important for the guys is to be a big believer that with this relationship, your life is not ending. You will be fine. With this rejection in the club, it, it's not describing who you are. You will be fine. Because I can say only from my experience, the one of the girlfriends I had in my 20s, and I was thinking like, well, damn, it was love of my life. First of all, I will never meet someone as beautiful as she is, as artistic as she is, as smart as she is, as
The
well-read as she is.
princess.
Yes, the princess. We used to call her princess because she was raised as the princess and she was very beautiful and etc. And my best friend is her cousin, by the way. And I used to think that that's what I'm doomed since that moment, right? Like, I lost this girl, I'm doomed. Nothing better will happen in my life. But I met so many good people just by being involved in seduction community. So many beautiful women, so many beautiful experiences, so much joy and belief in society, in men as well. Because in my opinion, the coolest people I met is the guys who are good with women. There is some type of mastery you're going through. Because if you mastered your relationship with women, you kind of, without even focusing on that, you master in other parts of your life. You becoming more generous, more kind, more empathetic to people. You have enough capacity to endure someone's pain, to listen to your friend, being there for them, and etc. Right? And some things for you guys right now might look terrible, and you might listen to this podcast to find the way to get through that, and you think, I'm doomed. There is nothing better is waiting for me. There is waiting. You just don't know that. You just need to get through that. Because if I believe in something, right, it's not gods or one god or evolution. I believe that after the long black period of unsuccesses comes the long period of successes. Then again, successes. But the question how much you can endure on that journey. And this is the question that you need to answer yourself. In the end of the day, you can simplify your life by accepting the fact that there is nothing except decadence and nihilism in this life. And that's the reality, because nothing is guaranteed in this life except that we will pass away. And yes, we have high hopes with some of the girls we meet in our lives, right? But it's not smart to have any hopes because we don't even know what awaits us tomorrow,
If there is tomorrow.
if there is tomorrow.
There was an interesting quote that says, "Do not look for time and death." Or excuse me, do not look for death and love, because those things will find you when they find you.
Mm-hmm.